Hi everyone, welcome to this class of Introduction to Philosophy. Today we will discuss two of the most influential traditions in philosophy regarding knowledge. These are the class of philosophical views called rationalism and the class of philosophical views called empiricism. We will begin by highlighting some of the main ideas developed by Descartes in his meditations on first philosophy. Two of the most important philosophical concepts to understand the ideas presented by Descartes in his first two meditations are the concept of certainty and skepticism. So, let's get started. We think that the highest mountain in the US is Mount McKinley, but we are not completely certain. We might be wrong. It's easy to make mistakes about that kind of thing, after all. Many of our beliefs are tainted by doubt. Can you think of a fact that you take for granted but can't be 100% sure? I am sure you can. But is there anything that we can be completely certain about? Are there perhaps philosophical or mathematical or religious or scientific doctrines that can be known with total certainty? Is it ever rational to be 100%, not a shadow of a doubt, bet your life on it certain? In his meditations on first philosophy, René Descartes set out to find complete certainty. That was his main goal. So, let's talk about the Descartes project. But remember to keep in mind that scientific knowledge in Descartes' time was quite different from current scientific knowledge. For example, before the 16th century, few things could have seemed more certain than that the Earth is stationary. It seems so obvious. If you go to the top of a hill and look around, you can see moving things, streams, clouds, animals, and so on. But the Earth seems to stay still. Astronomers agreed that the Earth is stationary at the center of the universe, while the stars, the planets, the moon, and the sun move around the Earth attached to transparent celestial spheres. Common sense and science were in agreement. The Earth doesn't move. People had evidence to believe in the geocentric model. Now we know that this theory is false. So the evidence was misleading. The question is, what kind of evidence do we need in order to have certainty? Notice what convincing the following argument seems to be. It appears as if all objects in space fall to Earth. We can feel the Earth moving, so we must be fixed and the Sun is orbiting us. The stars appear to be moving and the Sun is a star. Apparently, there was no reason to doubt that the Earth was stationary. Have you ever heard about Nicolaus Copernicus? What did he do? Let's see what was the big change produced by Nicolaus Copernicus. This began to change in 1543 with the publication of Nicolaus Copernicus on the revolution of the heavenly spheres. Copernicus argued that the Sun is stationary at the center of the universe while the planets, including the Earth, of course, move around it. Copernicus's idea was slow to catch on, but by the early 7th century, many scientists were convinced that Copernicus has been right. One of them was René Descartes. But the Copernicus model was not the only scientific theory that resulted in a complete revolution in the scientific beliefs of the time. During Descartes' lifetime, new scientific research undermined other medieval doctrines too. For example, it had been generally believed that celestial bodies are perfectly spherical, a claim which Galileo Galilei refuted by making careful telescopic observations of mountains on the moon. William Harvey established that the heart pumps blood in a circuit around the body, out through the arteries, back through the veins. Most physiologists before Harvey had thought that the liver creates blood, which is then pumped outwards by the heart to different parts of the body, where it is used up. Descartes knew of these developments in the sciences, and he had a hypothesis about why previous generations of scientists had got so many things wrong. They had developed their theories with too much haste. They were guilty of jumping to conclusions. Descartes came up with an ambitious plan, thinking that there might be still more errors hiding in contemporary science. Descartes decided to start again, developing scientific theory entirely from scratch. Let's see how he wanted to do that. Let's move on to the readings. He initiated this vast project in his book Meditations on First Philosophy. In order to avoid mistakes like those of the previous scientists, Descartes decided to put aside all pre-existing doctrine and to only accept a claim once he had shown that it was certainly true. He sometimes compared himself to a builder constructing a new building from scratch. He wanted the foundations of his building to be unshakably solid. So, Descartes wanted to find truths of which he could be certain, truths to form the foundations of his new science. But the more we think about it, the more we realize that certainty, complete certainty, is very hard to find. We think the Notre Dame Cathedral is in Paris, but are you completely certain? Here is a story. Read this story about the Walt Disney Company and the Notre Dame Cathedral. Can you be 100% certain that this story is mistaken? Remember, strange things do happen, and even today we sometimes don't hear about an important news story until a week or two after the event. This is not claiming that the story is plausible or likely. It isn't. It's ridiculous. The point is that you cannot be completely 100% certain that the story is false, and so you can be completely certain that the Notre Dame Cathedral is in Paris. Maybe it's unsurprising that we can be certain about the future or about distant things, but it might seem reasonable to think that we can be certain about what we can see right now. Well, Descartes denied this. He pointed out that we have all been deceived by our senses in the past. Think of the following examples. From a distance, round towers sometimes look square. Large statues sometimes look small when they are placed on tall plinths. In dim light, colored surfaces sometimes look gray. When capsaicin, an active ingredient in chili peppers, is rubbed onto the skin, it can give the sensation of heat even when there is no change of temperature. Descartes claimed that it is unwise to trust completely those who have deceived us even once. He concluded that we cannot be completely certain what we see is real. Could you find these ideas in the reading of the Meditations? Here is the first argument expressed by Descartes. Premise 1. Our senses have deceived us in the past. Premise 2. It is unwise to trust completely those who have deceived us even once. Conclusion. One should not place absolute confidence in one's senses. Is this a good argument? We might reject the second premise of this argument on the grounds that, while it is true that our senses have deceived us in the past, they have only done so in rather special conditions. Here is one example of why we might mistrust our senses. Vision is unreliable when the objects being inspected are far away, or when we are tired, or not paying attention, or when the light is poor. But perhaps it is only in special cases like this that we should not place absolute confidence in our senses. In good conditions, perhaps, we can be completely certain of what we see. What do you think? Suppose you are wide awake and in good lighting, and you are looking at a banana on a table right in front of you. Can you be certain that there is a banana before you? Or at least that there is something yellow and crescent-shaped there? Descartes argued that error is possible even in what seem to be perfect conditions. Sometimes we have dreams that are so vivid that they perfectly mimic our waking experiences. Even in the best conditions, when we are fully awake, when the lighting is good, and so on, we cannot be completely certain that we are not dreaming. Therefore, we cannot be completely certain of what we are seeing. Let's see the argument. Here is the second argument from the first meditation. Premise 1. You can only be completely certain that your perceptions are accurate if you can be completely certain that you are not currently asleep, having a vivid dream. Premise 2. You can never be completely certain that you are not asleep, having a vivid dream. Conclusion. You can never be completely certain that your perceptions are accurate. The following anecdote shows that, even in what seems to be perfect conditions, sense perception can mislead. We can reinforce Descartes' point by thinking about hallucinations. The neurologist Oliver Sacks described a strange experience he had after taking the drug Artane. Read the story below and think about it. Here is the third argument extracted from the Meditations. Now, we might have good reason for being confident that we are not hallucinating. Even so, it is never beyond all doubt that one is hallucinating. Premise 1. You can only be completely certain your perceptions are accurate if you can be completely certain that you are not currently hallucinating. Premise 2. You can never be completely certain that you are not currently hallucinating. Conclusion. You can never be completely certain your perceptions are accurate. Descartes then raised the suggestion that certainty can be found in mathematics. Consider, for example, the claim that the sum of 7 and 5 is 12, or the claim that there is no largest prime number. Perhaps we can be completely certain these claims are true. After all, these claims can be proven mathematically in an a priori way, that is, without appeal to sense perception. At this point, Descartes raised possibly the most famous thought experiment in the whole story of philosophy. We paraphrase Descartes' thought experiment as follows. There exists an evil demon with supernatural powers. The demon is able to manipulate your mind to deceive you. He can induce hallucinations and he can modify your memories in whatever way he chooses. None of your present experiences are accurate. They are all hallucinations caused by the demon. All of your real memories have been deleted and replaced by false memories. You are wrong about what your name is, wrong about where is you grew up, wrong about what your body looks like, and so on. The demon is also able to scramble your thought processes so that, for example, your mathematical calculations go wrong. If you try to find the sum 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, the demon can ensure that you get the wrong answer. This story might strike us as silly, and perhaps it is, but Descartes was not suggesting that the story is plausible or likely. As with the story about the Notre Dame Cathedral, the suggestion is just that one cannot be totally certain that the story is false. Descartes argued that because we cannot be completely sure that the evil demon story is false, we cannot be completely sure that our mathematical calculations are correct. And so, it seems that complete certainty is impossible, even in mathematics. Descartes' evil demon thought experiment introduced to philosophy a new form of skepticism, a very radical form of skepticism. We are used to the idea that sense perception occasionally misleads us. Illusions and hallucinations do occasionally happen. But Descartes challenged his readers to refute the hypothesis that the entire physical world is an illusion created by an evil demon. He even suggested that our rational thought processes might be disturbed by an evil demon, so things we take to have been mathematical proof and in fact false. Have you seen the movie Matrix? Well, this movie is an echo of Descartes' evil demon story. The central character in the movie is Neo, who realizes that the apparently physical world around him is instead a vast computer simulation. He learns too that what he takes to be his physical body is merely a tiny part of this computer simulation. Almost all the people around him, however, are ignorant of the deceit. They don't know that their surroundings are merely simulated. Following Descartes, we can ask, can you be completely sure that the physical world around you is not merely a computer simulation? Think about it. And for now, watch the following video. This is called Brain